The COVID-19 fund was released 2020, 2021, and there was a lockdown 2020, 2021. Before the pandemic, Nigeria pretended there was no health sector. So the COVID-19 fund was designed to address gaps in our health sector, and NAFDAC being part of it, that became part of the reason for the fund. There was also an intervention fund through CBN to manufacturers to improve their infrastructure. And as we speak, some of the infrastructures are still being upgraded. Knowing that 2020, 2021 were lockdown years, there were many things we could not do that we have to delay. So I understand where the honorable members are coming from. If this is COVID-19, why are we talking about it in 2023? If it involves structure, building, it takes a lot of time. The procurement itself. At one of the FEC meetings in 2021, they saw that the procurement of NAFDAC tenders or issues was taking like 1 year. And I was at FEC when the president said that, or one of the cabinet members said, okay, we think that, we say that things get delayed by NAFDAC. Why wouldn't things get delayed by NAFDAC if it takes 1 year for procurement? So these are factors that contributed to the extension of the implementation. But I quite understand what the honorable members were talking about. The intervention is not 2 months. The intervention is to improve existing structure so that when another pandemic comes, we will not be left hanging. So that is one of the general questions that was asked. So it is not the fund was appropriated actually correctly. It is that in Nigeria, especially with the evolution or devolution or whatever you want to call it, of our naira, there are things that we couldn't do. We have to step down or wait until we submit to BPP again to reassess. So the system also doesn't, it's not as fast as we should, we should expect. That is the general response for why now. Why are we still talking about it now? In terms of the releases from the balance, again, we will have to have the balance because of some of these questions, reasons that I've given. We have a problem with bureaucracy in Nigeria, and there isn't anything we can do to change that overnight. The balance, as you can see, we had to order some things, HVAC. We don't make HVAC in Nigeria. It takes months to come into the country. It takes months to get it out of customs. So these are factors that have contributed to why we are where we are right now. And then for the I&E, the balance of that 2 million is, I will ask the accountant to talk about it. And the exempt, I will ask the accountant, tax exempt, the accountant to talk about that, and also the payment vouchers, stamp duty, remittances. The picture that is not labeled is actually well asked question. As a professor, I want to make sure that that page can stand on its own. If it drops on the floor, somebody will know what is it about. So, sir, you are correct in terms of improper labeling. And that you also mentioned BOQ. The BOQ are here, but in terms of distinguishing the picture with the submission, we didn't do it right. COVID-19 pandemic, we have to thank God that we are alive today. We went through a lot. NAFDAC went through a lot in terms of COVID-19. We were monitoring all the vaccines that came into the country. NAFDAC is the only laboratory that has vaccines and biologics laboratory in sub-Saharan Africa. In-house vaccines biologics laboratory. But we were managing in a small lab or small space, but we were still performing. However, in order to achieve the global benchmarking that we make our products to be globally accepted, we have to improve. That is the upgrading of this lab that we mentioned. But for the vaccines and biologics lab, NAFDAC is the only agency in Africa that tested all the millions of doses of vaccines that came into the country. And I was challenged at a point during one African continental meeting. They said, you are not supposed to test because the WHO has already given approval. I said, no. We have the wherewithal, we have the intellectual capacity, we test. We tested all. We used our own track and trace, which is barcoding technology, to record a product that didn't have the quality, to recall it quickly. NAFDAC is like a, what will I call it, standard globally in terms of use of track and trace. And for track and trace, the hosting of the website of the portal, some of this money was used for that. So when you look at it as from, oh, COVID is 2020, 2021, why are we doing this? No, everything works together. As a regulatory agency, we were also in the process of improving ourselves towards maturity level 3. Only 30% of regulatory agencies in the world has that recognition, and NAFDAC is one of them. There are only 5 countries or NRAs, National Regulatory Authorities, in Africa that has maturity level 3. NAFDAC is one of them. It was during that COVID-19 pandemic that we were making do. And also the support of the government. It is just that when it comes to rebuilding, it doesn't happen overnight. We are going to maturity level 4 now for vaccine lot, what is called vaccine lot release. And that building is going to stand up and make Nigeria to shine. We have not completed it, but we will complete it before WHO comes to benchmark us again. In terms of the 6th product, there is what is called market control. In our functions, we have 9 pillars of maturity level assessment. And market control is one of them. Market control is from a registration to approval to destruction, as the case may be. And we have to show that we have a control of the market. Although we have been doing that, but the COVID-19 pandemic fund helped us in terms of what of the money that we normally charge. Some of the products that we destroy, we have to get money out of our pocket because some of them are abandoned at the customs. And if you cannot handle hold somebody responsible, there's nobody to get money from.
And you can't place the importers.
Exactly. Yeah, they will just give you an address that maybe it's in a gutter somewhere. So that is part of our problem. In terms of the money, we get money, little money from destruction generally, but many times these people are, they abandon and just go away. In terms of prosecution, our enforcement, investigation and enforcement is very strong. We arrest of the C-34 bill. This was the power to arrest, to prosecute. Some of these merchants whose products we seized, some of them were prosecuted. Some of the cases are still in court. I wish my director of enforcement is here. So that is...
Where does the fines go?
The fines go into our IGR. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, sir. Sorry, please. You've talked about 250 million.
200.
Cost of the destruction. Right? Is the fine more than 203 million?
Fine.
Destroy drugs or something. And I want to destroy it. And the cost I'm going to charge the person that has brought this illegality in is supposed to be far more than the cost I'm going to use to destroy it. It's just a practical. We've just asked that if we have used 203 million to destroy drugs, how much have we fined or charged the illegality, that the illegal people that brought them in? Thank you.
Tariff. We present to them, and they, of course, deliberate and recommend what we should charge for different activities. But in terms of the charge should be more than the cost. We are just instituting now the Office of Money, Organized Crime Office, so to say. But what you are saying, I never thought of it, that the charge should be more than the cost of the good. Again, it is our council that decides.
Saying the cost of destruction is too high. If you look at the cost right in reference standard that you spend 72 million on, those are very critical sectors of the kind of work that you do, and you just spend 72 million. Now, the global benchmarking training that is very critical to the work that you do, you spent only 9 million for those things. But when you want to destroy drugs, you are spending 300 just to set fire, pour petrol and put fire. I don't know whether you are using a whole tanker.
Yes, sir.
Is it outsourced? Is it awarded to a contractor or all the staff?
Yes, sir. It is awarded to contractors. Okay. And then the staff, how costly it is to destroy. Because we cannot keep them in house. Yes, sir. It takes, before the pandemic, for one container, it's about 1 million to transport from Apapa to Shagamu. Just the transportation alone.
Yeah. 1 million. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That is before the pandemic. One container. We may destroy 40 containers at a time. Yes. About. Yes. Then you have police. Because if we do, it can take about 4 or 5 days. So the police have to be there. If not, there are people that are around in the neighborhood that will pilfer those products. So they have to be guarded all through. Then we have to, get the tire, the petrol and whatnot. Yes. No, not for 200 million. It's for the staff, sir. It's for the staff, because when you have police. Yes, sir. Big dump sites, ironing of canopies. People have to witness it and things like that. Ironing of public address system, safety kits, entertainment for guests.
Madam,
sir?
You cannot explain this. I just want. Please, when next you are born, please.
Bring it down.
Just bring it down a little bit. Bring it down very well. Please, man.